You good? You
I'm an
good?
old lady.
So how are
Oh,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You rested? You had a big
Oh,
few.
I don't know about rested, but I got back home on Monday, and then I had to go back to day jobbing on Tuesday, and day jobbing, doing mommy stuff and doing writer stuff. I had to jump right back into it like almost immediately. So I wouldn't say I'm rested, but I'm
Well,
functioning.
hey, at least you there and you did what you did. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna do my intro and then we can go into these questions because I have some questions for you.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Oh, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Negro in Distress Black Girl Book Talk, where we peel back the layers of literature, storytelling, and the beautiful chaos of being a black creative in a world that doesn't always see us fully. Today, we are honored to be graced by a woman whose pen is dipped in honey, healing, and heat. The incredible, gifted contemporary romance author Monique Fisher. Her words don't just tell love stories, they move them. With every page, she writes the kind of black love that feels lived in, rooted, and resonated. Whether she's writing about soft moments or messy breakups, Monique reminds us that love, especially black love, is not only revolutionary but necessary. So let's get into it.
That was quite an intro. Thank you so much. I'm like, I didn't realize I was doing all that. Thank you.
You know what? You authors don't even be realizing y'all be doing so much for us until we be like, yeah, you did. Yeah. You did. So let's get started at the beginning. Was your entry into storytelling a beautiful symphony of words orchestrated with intent, or more of a poetic happenstance that led you to romance?
Let's see. I first fell in love with words when I was in fifth grade. The very first book. I think this is just of black women of a certain age. I was born in 1980, and I feel like our intro into literature for us was "Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry."
Mm.
So I remember reading that when I was 10 years old, and that really resonated with me. And as time went on, words just became like more and more important to me. I
Mm.
didn't understand why because I was a child, but I didn't start to really think of a career writing until I was in college. I majored in theater,
Mm.
and my concentration was playwriting and stage directing.
Mm.
And that's when I finally realized I could probably get paid for this shit. And then from there, I'm I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and I still live there.
Mm.
So I took a television writing course, of which there is a whole bunch of them out here.
Mm.
And from there, I took a comic book and graphic novel writing course, and then I made my way into of writing novels. I think my journey was basically just I want to do something creative with words. I just don't not sure how, and I'm not sure what, and I know that I want to have complete creative control. Can't really have that unless you're making something independently in terms of film or television,
Mm.
and getting the funding for that is no joke. So that kind of went on the back burner, and then I did do an independent graphic novel, but that kind of just got stopped because it was attached to a webcomic company. And then I thought,
Mm.
what is something I can do by myself, and with my money, with my funding, and then that's when I discovered novel writing. And
Mm.
I first started reading stuff like Farrah Rashan and Jasmine Guillory. Now, I'll admit I'm late to the game. I grew up. I feel like there's two different. There's an intersection between the two, but there's the Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Francis Ray Gurley's, and then there's the Chan McMillan, Eric Jerome Dickey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, BB Moore Campbell. And I
Mm.
was that. I was in that group. So I didn't
Yeah.
discover romance until much later. But in between then, I discovered Zane. And then
Mm.
from there, I started reading Jasmine Guillory and Farrah Rashan. And then that's when it hit me. This is what I should be doing.
Okay. So when it comes to your pen, what does love feel like? Is it soft? Is it wild? Is it slow burning or a raging fire?
I guess it just depends on what scene I'm writing. For because it's all those things. And for me, it's also safe. That's the one thing that I really want to reflect on when it comes to my work is this man feels safe with this woman feels safe with this man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's heat, yes, there's sweetness, yes, there's softness, and yes, there's primarily pretty. My books are pretty low angst,
Mm-hmm.
but safety. That's the most important thing. Is
Mm-hmm.
these two people feel safe around each other? Do they
Right.
trust each other? Do they respect each other? You know,
Yeah.
the steamy stuff is fun to write, but I also really enjoy like the banter and the getting to know you stuff and just the
Yeah.
regular conversations because I want my work to sound as real as possible, and that's a part of the process is having conversations, getting to know each other better, getting to know each other's thought process, feelings when it comes to various different issues, their sense of humor. So I
Mm-hmm.
like writing that stuff as well.
Do you intentionally build the love between your characters, planning every spark and soft glance, or do you let the plot unfold, letting love appear naturally if at all?
A little bit of both. I think I call myself a planter, at least when it comes to my novels. I plot up here and then I just sit down and then I just start writing. I
Mm-hmm.
do have little notes, like on little sticky notes. That, every now and then I'll write something like an idea will pop in my head, and then I'll just write down a little sticky note, like um, give them a scene at an ice cream parlor, or it'll just be something pretty innocuous. It would just be like, oh, that would be cute. Uh, have what add an extra date, have them go to a diner or have them do this or have them do that. So
Yeah.
I'll have like little notes like that, but for the most part I plot everything in my head and then I just sit down and I write.
Hmm. In the genre of contemporary romance, do you ever feel the pressure to present conflict free love, that sanitized, low stakes version of romance? Or do you believe that love, even in fiction, must wrestle with reality?
I try to include both. Like one of the my book Spend My Life with You, when I was marketing it I was saying this is a low angst, um not conflict free but low conflict, because
Mm-hmm.
the whole entire premise of the story is there's two people have been in love with each other for 4 years. They finally tell each other how they feel, and they realize that the other person feels the same. 3 weeks later, they
Mm-hmm.
get married.
No.
So it takes place over the course of their first year of marriage. So you have the honeymoon phase, and then we finally told each other that we love each other phase, but you also have real stuff that happens too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know they have disagreements, and their Valentine's Day does not go very well because he ends up being on a phone call almost during the entirety of it. They end up losing their reservation. She's really pissed. So they do have conflicts that happen, and they do have things that happen because they have to get used to being in love with this person, actually being in a relationship with them, and finding out all their quirks and everything because now they are married and they live together. So
Mm.
you have all that, but you also have it in a really sweet package.
Mm. In your own words, what is the underlining language of romance? What are the beats and tones that matter most in Monique Fisher's love story?
I think just going back to the whole safety thing, I think that's the thing that matters most. We it's interesting because a a lot of my ideas will come from just stuff that I grew up watching. I grew up watching Living Single. I grew up watching Girlfriends. I grew up watching all these shows. So television and imagery takes a huge role.
Mm-hmm.
Having gone from theater to television writing to comic book writing, the imagery just plays a huge role. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, when I think of a story, when I think of what romance means to me, I see it almost like an imagery. I see it almost like it's a movie in my head. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's the little details. It's him putting her coat on, him opening the door for her. I mean, it seems like this is just basic stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's that basic stuff. It's that small stuff. That's what I think the real stuff comes from. And yes, banter, sex scenes, fun. That's fun, but it's the little tiny details. I like writing stuff like that, like having him pull out her chair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whenever I have a date, whenever the check hits the table, he immediately, there is no hesitation. He
Yeah.
immediately pulls out his wallet. So it's just like little stuff like that. I like focusing and paying attention on that and like sprinkling that all throughout the story, because it's tiny. It may seem like a tiny detail, but that's the sort of stuff that really matters and that helps the reader know more about the character.
That's true. As I told you, my favorite book is Take Care. I love Take Care. Um, when you write Black love, what carries in your soul? Like, what are the echoes you're trying to leave behind when you write about Black love?
Hmm, that's a good question. What am I trying to leave behind? Just just that we deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
We deserve it. I mean, we came here under such, there are no words to discuss the circumstances, and our sole purpose was just to breed with each other and to make more enslaved
Mm-hmm.
people. So when I want to tell a story about two black people, two black leads who found each other, who find love, who find safety, comfort, joy, all the things uh,
Mm-hmm.
from one another. And I want that to be very, very reflective in my work.
Mm.
I enjoy the idea of having two, basically I like to give my people money too, so I had to a couple of well-to-do black folks with some money who
Nothing wrong with money.
who
Nothing
don't
wrong
mind
with money.
spending it. I like
So
to doing that too.
So there's been talk that contemporary romance has become whimsical or even watered down. What's your take? Do you believe the genre has evolved or has it been diluted?
I I haven't. I maybe it's because I read mostly my friends, so so I'm a bit biased, but I don't see anything being diluted. I
Mm,
see people coming from off walk. I have friends that write romantic. I have friends that write dark romance. I have friends
mm,
that write dark rom coms. I have friends that write everything under the sun,
mm.
and they're hitting it out the park. I mean, all the people that I follow and all the books that I've read, they've been really good.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a DNF in quite a while, so I've been enjoying myself. I'm not sure what everybody else is doing, but I'm enjoying the words that I've been reading lately.
So, out of all the books in your catalog, can you share one that surprised you with its success? What was it about that story that connected more than you expected?
Well, I think my most successful book right now is Hot for Teacher, and I don't know if I was surprised, but I was definitely like um, how do I phrase this? It was like, oh, thank God, people get it. It was more like that. It was more like relief, because that book came to me after watching a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Really?
And yeah, and in the sketch, it was like after season 2 of Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis plays the teacher, and Ego Nwodim plays the mom, and Kyle Mooney plays the dad. And the teacher and the mom are increasingly flirting with each other more and more and more as the sketch continues. And finally, it ends with the teacher on top of the mom on the desk in front of the dad, and the dad's just like freaking out. And it was funny to me, and I thought parent teacher romance, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So obviously I changed some stuff because Latrice's story is definitely, I leaned hard into the fact that she comes from a very close family, a very tight knit family. She is the oldest daughter. She doesn't do anything reckless. So the one time she does something reckless, she thinks that it's blown up in her face. Meanwhile, her sister is telling her, no, you had a one night stand with a stranger only to find out that he's your kid's teacher. You now have. What language am I allowed to use right now?
You can say anything except for anything that deals with the drugs.
Okay. It took me a minute to like what. It took me a minute. I was like, okay, sorry. What was I? Her younger sister is just like, you have like a dick supply at your disposal right now. The man hit it and he hit it real good, and now you want more, and now you found out he's your kid's teacher. That's perfect. And of course, Latrice being the oldest daughter, she sees it and oh my God, I ruined my son's life, and oh my God, and what am I gonna do? And it takes her sister to tell her, no, this is a good thing. And so eventually the two of them of course start talking, and it leads to the two of them falling in love.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that wasn't a surprise so much as was just relief. Like, oh, good, people really dig this. People really like it. I think one of the things that folks enjoy the most is the fact that it's older woman, younger man. She's 38, he's 29, and
Mm.
so because I've had people just tell me that they're just like, you know what, a lot of folks seem to think that romance and sex and all the rest of that stuff that it just like stops after 30. And I like seeing women represented that are around my age and stuff. And the minute they say that, I just tell them, "Oh, you need to read my friend Tati Richardson." Then
She definitely does it. She
yes,
does.
yes, she does. I immediately tell people, read the Oath, and I let them know she goes there. But
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be there the entire ride with her. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the book that I've been recommending the most of hers.
So many writers debate between short stories and novels. In your opinion, what can a novella or a short story capture that a full length novel sometimes cannot?
Well, I'm actually challenging myself because instead of writing, I usually do one novel, one novella per year, and I'm doing one novel that's basically an anthology. We'll get to that later, and one and two novelettes. So my novellas are usually 40,000 words. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to write two 20,000 word things that are connected, and
Mm-hmm.
then try to drop them on the same day.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I am nothing if not ambitious, even if it's something that I find myself later on thinking, why did I do this? Eventually, once it's out and once it's done, I usually feel a lot better. But in the thick of it, I'm usually like, why did I do this to myself? And honestly, having so limited amount of words, it challenges me. It challenges me to like get to the point, cut out extraneous stuff, and that's not always easy because like I said, I studied theater, so
Mm-hmm.
whenever I wrote plays, I would give people like, you know, monologues and sweeping speeches and stuff. So I still kind of do that now, but I do have people who check me and who say stuff like, you know what, you should probably break this up and have her say something in between all this,
Yeah.
because if I go, I'll go for like maybe two paragraphs before she even says anything, and it's usually him saying something incredibly like heartfelt and loving. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
him giving a speech, and then I usually get told, "Yeah, this is a bit extraneous. This is redundant, and to, let's cut it down by having her say something in between."
Yeah.
So that's something that I've had to get used to.
So traditional publishing has often struggled to handle black love with nuance. What do you believe is still missing in these literary spaces when it comes to centering our stories?
Black people.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, when you, I, this is obviously, I have nothing but love for these ladies, but when the only people that you can name are Kennedy, Tia, Talia, Jasmine, when it's just the same people over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I have nothing but the utmost respect and love for these ladies, and but they'll be the first ones to tell you there's a whole other world out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like their treasure, their gold coins, jewels, their surface level, their treasure, but their surface level treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And folks don't seem to understand that if they keep digging, there's even more.
Yeah.
And these ladies are telling you that. I've
Yeah.
seen Kennedy Ryan mention, you know, there's indies, there's people out there, there's plenty of voices out there for everybody.
Yeah.
I've seen these women say this numerous times, but people still just want to focus on what just the surface level. It's like dig deeper, there's even more treasure.
Yeah.
You're denying yourself even more.
That is true. That is true. So, how do you personally define your pen and your authorship? Is it your voice, your themes, or your fearlessness?
I don't know about fearlessness, but I just write whatever I would want to read. I take that Toni Morrison quote to heart. I just write whatever. This is something that I would like. I love rom coms. I'm like, I'm the very first rom. I had no business seeing this movie. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Um, I wanted to see Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman came out when I was 10. My mom, I told my mom I want to see Pretty Woman, and then she told my brother, who was 25, go take your sister to go see this movie. again,
Wow.
again, I don't know if I'm an Xennial or Gen X, but we were basically allowed to watch whatever we wanted. My favorite comedian of all time is Eddie Murphy. Why? Because I grew up watching everything he did. So,
Mm.
I saw um, Coming to America. My mom, we did a double feature. I'll never forget it. We went to the library, and she got Coming to America and Raw, and we watched both. And I was 9 years old. So grew up watching romantic comedies, and I've always loved them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love laughing. I don't consider
Mm-hmm.
myself to be like an incredibly funny person, but I do have a pretty goofy personality. So, based on that, I usually write something that I would like, and then I would find amusing.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for my covers. Um, when I collaborate with artists, I just tell them, I give them a little bit about what the book is about, a little bit about the blurb, and then I send various different imagery.
Yeah.
And then I just tell them, this is what I see in my head, basically. And then they come back with an initial sketch, and then another sketch, and then color, and then the final product. So
Mm.
I pick, I work with artists whose artwork I find eye catching, and that would stop me and make me want to read. And I
Mm-hmm.
write stuff that I would want to read as well.
Hmm. So what would you say is the heart and soul of you as an author? The thing you carry into every single book.
Make them laugh.
Make them laugh.
Yeah, I write comedy, and it's funny because romantic comedy doesn't really get like the comedy. It doesn't get like the it doesn't get the same respect that a lot of other forms of comedy do. I think it's
Mm.
because of the romance aspect, because this is something that a majority of women write, a majority of women read, so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get the same respect. But I go for laughs. My goal is to make you fall in love with this couple. Hello, Moto. Sorry
Not
about
the
that.
Hello Moto. I haven't heard that in years. Oh my god.
Nobody even called me. Okay. Yeah, it asked me to turn on picture in picture if I get a phone call, but it's like nobody even calls me. I knew that was a scam already. Okay, where was I? I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I try to bring laughter to it because I like the idea of having the rom, having the sweet, spicy, bantery bits, but I also like the idea of making folks laugh, and I like goofy shit. Like
Mm.
I like pratfalls, and I loved Lucy as a kid. I
Mm.
would get home from school, do my homework, and I was 10 years old, and I would immediately turn on I Love Lucy. I watched every single episode. My favorites were the Vitamin to Vegemin commercial where increasingly gets drunker and drunker,
Mm.
and the one where her and Ethel get jobs working at the candy factory.
Mm.
I love the idea of including like physical comedy into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my book Shia Batty, I mentioned this during a panel at BRBF. My male main character is terrified of horses. He has to save the female main character because a flock of sheep are chasing her. So he hops on a horse. When he thinks that he's actually going to do it, the horse dumps him into a watering hole.
Oh well.
So I like I like putting stuff like that into it. I like putting silly stuff, like I said, pratfalls, physical comedy. I like doing stuff like that, and I have something similar to that, and also in Spend My Life with You, involving the male main character eating something that was entirely too hot. So
Mm.
uh, that's what I try to aim for. I don't just try to aim for it being sweet and sensitive, and I do aim for that. I do aim for the wrong part, but I also try to go for the calm part as well. I want to
Hmm.
make sure that you laugh.
So, can you share an upcoming project that might be a shift from your previous work, something that will surprise your readers?
Well, honestly, tell me I'm not dreaming. I mean, it is a rom com, but it's also an anthology. It's about four best friends who go on a girls' trip to New Orleans. They encounter a psychic, and the psychic tells them that they're going to meet the love of they're each going to meet the love of their lives within a year. So it's uh each woman gets her own story. So first
Mm.
it's Lyric, and then Amy, and then Suchi, and then Bridget. And going back to the imagery thing, television. I watched a lot of sitcoms growing up. This plays a role. I took a sitcom writing class, which anybody out there who's watching this right now, if you are an author or a writer, don't. I'm not saying aspiring. Get that word out of your vocabulary. If you write, then you're a writer. Um, if you want to write comedy or rom coms, the best thing you could do is look up scripts. Look up comedy sitcom scripts. Also, watch them and study them. And if you're able to take a sitcom writing class, that's like comedy writing boot camp.
Mm.
Because you got to make people laugh. You got to build a world, build characters, provide an A, B, and C story, and make people laugh all within 20 minutes. And you also have to make people want to watch the next episode.
Okay.
So, it's it is definitely like comedy writing boot camp. So I highly recommend that. When I was developing these characters, going back to sitcoms, I thought, what would it look like if I took the characters from Golden Girls and the characters from Girlfriends and put them in my voice? So Lyric is Dorothy and Tony. Amy is Blanche and Lynn. Suchi is Rose and Joan, and Bridget is Maya and Sophia. But in my voice.
Mm. I like that. I like that. Hey, Kimmy. Um, what advice do you have for aspiring romance writers, especially Black women who are trying to tell love stories that feel real but not filtered?
Write whatever the hell you want. Don't. It's crazy to me because I have a whole bunch of black writers or black readers, which love them down, love them down. You will never catch me saying some crazy shit about black readers don't do enough for us. You will never. I've been kidnapped. If I ever say some goofy shit like that, I've been kidnapped. You heard it right here. If Monique Fisher ever says black readers don't do shit for black authors, I've been kidnapped. And but the thing that's also really cool is that black readers will see me and then say, "Oh," or they'll see my covers and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, cool." Non-black readers, they see my covers and they're like, "Oh, I'm curious." So it's interesting because I have a lot of non-black readers who will contact me and just tell me how much they love my work.
Mm.
And what's crazy is when black readers do it, it's always like, "Oh, thank you, baby. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much." The immediate gratitude, the warmth, that love.
Mm.
I still struggle with not being shocked whenever a non-black reader tells me.
Why?
I don't know, but for some reason, I always just kind of am like, oh, you guys like my books too. Okay, cool. And I don't know why, but I have to stop doing that because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
of course, my books are universal. My books, love is universal.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that are specifically for
Mm-hmm.
us,
Mm-hmm.
particularly Black women, but
Mm-hmm.
there's other stuff that's also very, very universal as well.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to get myself out of the habit of thinking that because
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously flattering. I love anybody. I love it when anybody tells me that they read my books.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, I always find myself being like, "Oh wow, okay, thank you so much." There's a little bit of shock that comes with the flattery.
Mm-hmm. So, what's next for you? Like, is there any tours, festivals, panels? Where can we see you outside?
Okay, well, I just got back from BRBF. Shout out to the whole team. They did an amazing job. It felt amazing. It was like a big ass family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Next, you will find me in Milwaukee at Romance Con, Milwaukee,
Mm.
Wisconsin, September 5th and 6th. I do have a table. I have not been told if I'm on any panels yet,
Okay.
if I am on any panels, but I do have a table, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's my second year. It was a lot of fun last year, and it was their first year, and just like
Mm-hmm.
it was BRBF's first year this year. Last year was Romance Con's first year. Incredibly well organized.
Mm.
Yeah, I had a great time, and in October 31st and November 1st, steamy lit. So I'm going to be out here in California
Okay.
and Anaheim. So that's what I'm doing this year. And also, just Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming is dropping August 29th. And at the end of the year, I'm going to attempt to drop two novelettes on the same day.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, you are a busy woman. All right. And
Yeah.
finally, let everybody know where they can find you. Drop all your socials, your website, your catalog, where we can get it, everything.
Okay, I am on Blue Sky under, I think, M. Fisher author.
Mm.
I am on IG and Threads at Monique Fisher author, and I'm on here as Monique Fisher author.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, okay. So this is before I get into the housekeeping thing that I do, y'all. I want to say thank you. Thank you for writing with intention, for loving black characters out loud, and for giving readers permission to see themselves in softness, in joy, in romance, in fullness. Your work is a reminder that love, especially ours, is not an afterthought and is the main plot. To everyone that is here, follow Monique, buy the books, leave the reviews, support Black women in romance with the same energy you will bring to any other genre. And this has been Negro in Distress, Black Girl Book Talk, where we hold space, speak truth, give love its flowers, and catch y'all the next time. So stay loud, stay loved, and stay black on purpose. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so
You
much.
are welcome. If you want to stay here for the housekeeping, you can if you want
Okay.
to.